James Gordon Bentley, you have been tried for murder. Abigail McGinty was found by the baker on the floor of her sitting room with extensive wounds to the head. The house in Broadhinny evinced no sign of forced entry. All the police surgeon was able to ascertain was that she'd been hit with a sharp, heavy implement, probably sometime the night before.
You, Bentley, were suspected from the very beginning. You knew where she kept her money. You'd recently lost your employment. And then the investigating officer, Superintendent Spence, found £60 in legal tender under a stone by the garden path.
So you had the motive, and you had the opportunity.
Will the defendant please rise?
How do you find the defendant?
We find the defendant guilty.
I lived with my mum. I looked after her until she died. And then I had to sell her.
And so you became the lodger of Mrs. McGinty?
Yeah. Yeah, I was taken on at Breather and Skull in Kilchester. It's about 4 miles from Broadhinny on the train.
Sorry, but I'm not familiar with the Breather and Scuttle.
They sell houses. Well, I never sold no houses, but I showed a few people around. Most of them never came back, so... well, Mr. Scuttle let me go.
I hope you'll be comfortable, Mr. Poirot. If there's anything you'd like to change, please say so.
The only thing I would change, madame, were it within my power, would be to provide you with a suitable domestic.
I know. It's a terrible bother. We had a really good daily, but she was murdered. Just my luck. She came every Monday, every Thursday, regular as clockwork.
Why, the bloody geese in the hall, Maureen. Ah, hello.
Monsieur?
New PG. I hope you enjoy your stay. It's a decent part of the world. Our terms are weekly in advance, if you don't mind.
Dinner shouldn't be too long now.
Madame, the window in my room, it does not close properly. There is the current of the cold air.
I know. Johnny's father and mother were badly off, poor dears. Never did a thing to the house. And when we came back from India, Johnny couldn't afford to either. Now he's writing his memoirs, Highways and Byways of Hindustan. That's why the place is falling down, and that's why we take in PGs.
PGs?
Paying guests. Oh, good boy. Things are a bit buggered at the minute, financially. Can't be easy for Johnny in the village. But they're all very nice people in Broadhinny. I say, do you mind me slicing these in here? The smell in the kitchen is just completely unacceptable.
Not at all, madame. Perhaps I should tell you a little bit more about myself.
Huh?
I am a detective.
Are you?
Oui.
Oh.
Hercule Poirot, the most famous detective in the world. And I am here to investigate the murder of Mrs. McGinty.
Ouch. Ooh. Oh.
Madam, you will forgive me, but I do not think that tonight I will require the dinner. If you please, may I ask of you some questions about your auntie?
Oh, she's dead, poor soul. She was 64. My uncle died young of pneumonia, so auntie goes out as a char lady. There's plenty of rich people hereabouts who don't know how to mop their own floors.
And your auntie, did she live in this house for long?
Oh, forever.
And you, Madame Birch?
We were lucky to get this. It's got a garden.
Oh, so your auntie left to you this house in her will?
Don't say we wanted her money, the little bit she had. Don't think we wanted the house either. But you're not going to say no, are you, if you inherit?
What did Auntie like?
Oh, normal things, you know. Knitting, cats and dogs. She loved her Sunday papers. All the film stars and that. Tea?
Merci.
What the hell do you want?
Excusez-moi, Madame Carpenter.
I don't require any cleaning fluids. Go away.
No, if you please. Hercule Poirot. And I have a few questions to ask you about the death of Mrs. McGinty last November.
I don't know who you mean.
Madame, you do not remember the McGinty?
No, I don't. Now be off.
But you surely remember her murder? Or is the murder of servants so common in this place that you do not even notice it?
Oh, the murder. Yes, of course. I'd forgotten the old woman's name.
Even though she worked for you here in this house?
She didn't. I wasn't living here then. Mr. Carpenter and I were only married 3 months ago.
But she did work for you on Fridays, when you were Mrs. Selkirk and lived in Rose Cottage.
If you know the answers to everything, I don't see why you bother asking questions. She was only a stupid old charwoman. Kept her money under the floorboards, for pity's sake. And somebody murdered her for it. Like an item in the Sunday papers.
Ah, the Sunday papers. Wait. Like the Sunday Comet. Do you take the Sunday Comet, madame?
We take the Observer and the Sunday Times.
Oh. But you know, there are 3 women who have the right age to be the daughter of Eva Kane. Sheila Randall, the wife of the doctor. Maureen Summerhays from Long Meadows. And Eve Carpenter. Let us first consider the daughter of Eva Kane. Maureen Summerhays, she does not strike me as a clever little actress, even though she has been away for many years in India. Sheila Randall, now she is afraid of something, but of what I cannot discover. But Eve Carpenter, a woman who wears the maquillage, the makeup, most expensive, married to a man with the ambitions political, who has a great sense of his own importance. And there is also something else about Eve Carpenter. She is so vain that she will not wear the spectacles, or only those that have a tint. And without the spectacles, she cannot even see to cross the room. But you know, from the point of view of age, any one of these 3 women could also be
Lily Gamble.
At the time of the death of Mrs. McGinty, Madame Carpenter was not Madame Carpenter. She was a young widow, very badly off, living in the cottage of a laborer, engaged to the rich man of the neighborhood. If only Guy Carpenter had discovered that he was about to marry a woman of low origin who had bludgeoned to death her aunt with a meat chopper.
You do think it's Eve Carpenter, don't you?
I think that you do not originate from Kilchester, Mama.
No. Moved here about a year ago. Was in London before that. Tired of it.
Tired of London? May I ask what was your employment?
I worked in publicity.
And now you work for the Breeder and Scuttle?
But I fancied a change. But do you make progress, Monsieur Poirot? That's what I want to know.
Oh, mademoiselle, we do not have any suspects. We do not have the murder weapon, and we do not have any evidence that James Bentley did not do it. So to speak truly, no, we do not make the progress.
But there are only 2 weeks until they hang him.
Mrs. McGinty also recognized the photograph, and now Mrs. McGinty, she is dead. You must tell me anything you know, madame. Anything at all. You are a woman who is secretive, madame.
When I come to a decision, I act. Knowledge is power. Power must only be used for the right ends. You'll excuse my suggesting that you don't perhaps appreciate the pattern of our English country life.
In other words, you say to me that you are only a damn foreigner, huh? Be careful, madame. There is danger
mess, all right?
Doing it again. Just like before.
We don't pay rent now, so they can't kick us out. We own that bloody place.
I think I'll smoke. Good night.
Stupid woman.
You embarrassed me. You lost all our money.
At least I had something to inherit, which is more than you did.
No, my fault. I don't know parents. I had a money. You should be away.
Shut up, listen to little
Speak to me like that. I'll kill you. I'll kill you with my own hands.
It's the telephone for you.
Merci, madame.
Good boy. Come on.
Madame, there is also a new current of cold air in my room. Hercule Poirot?
I've got another theory. Joe Birch. Married to that niece of McGinty. They had money troubles. Joe fritters it. They can't pay the rent. Joe leaves the cinema in Kilchester, cycles the 4 miles to Broadhinny, clobbers the old girl, then pedals back just in time for the credits. Then they inherit the cottage. Got it? See you later.
Here, boy. Come on. Where have you got to? Come on.
S'il vous plaît, madame. What is this utensil?
Oh, you found that, have you?
Where?
It's a sugar cutter, or sugar hammer, or something. Chopping up sugar. It's rather fun, isn't it? Oh, my head.
You brought it back perhaps from India?
Oh, no. We bought this at the jumble sale at Christmas. It came from Baghdad. At least that's what Sheila Rendell said, in one of her more loquacious moments.
Merci, madame.
Come on, boy.
A sugar hammer?
Oui, madame. It is an instrument of brass with a handle of wood, and there is on it a bird, and there is also inlaid the stones, blue and red.
Oh, yes.
Madame?
Oh, yes, we bought it in the bazaar on holiday last year. But it looked out of place, so I took it to the jumble sale.
I see, so you kept it here in this house until Christmas, and then you took it to the jumble sale?
No, it wasn't the Christmas sale, it was the one before that, Harvest Festival.
The Harvest Festival. So when is that? September? October?
It's the end of September.
Are you sure you took it to the jumble sale in September and not at Christmas?
Yes. Why are you really here in Broadhinny?
To inquire into the death of Mrs. McGinty.
Nonsense. It's absurd. No one believes that for a moment. She was a child. Look, I know what you're actually after. And it's not true. None of it's true. He wouldn't. I just know.
Madame.
And you a professional. A so-called professional. I'd have thought it beneath your dignity to come down here and hound a man, to harry him. Like a dog, like a beagle. It's the most...
Madame,
Those
please,
letters were written by cowards
Cowards and liars. Traitors. Filth. Don't you believe a word?
Madame.
It is not glamorous. It is not fashionable. It's cheap.
Sven Herksen is a vegetarian. Sven Herksen has always been a vegetarian. He's got a little machine for chopping carrots.
Yes. Ariadne, precious. Yes. But why?
I don't know. Why I thought of the revolting man. Must have been mad. These things just happen. You try something and people seem to like it, and then you go on, and before you know where you are, you've got someone like that maddening Sven Herksen tied to you for life.
Shouldn't you spend some time on casting, Robin? Didn't you think Cecil Leach was a good idea?
Oh, that is very shrewd, Madre. You know, Cecil Leach could do it. Now, why don't we motor over to Kilchester tonight? He's in my touring production at the Rep.
To London, if you please. Express.
Oh, Scotland Yard.
Wait.
Fancy.
Mademoiselle Sweetie Man, from your accent, I suspect that you are not from these parts.
No, I'm a blow-in.
So, may I ask where the wind it has blown you from?
I grew up abroad. Never mind where. Hello, Joe.
Monsieur?
Marjorie, I'm so sorry. I just don't want you to feel lonely. That's all. Look, we can cancel it.
You do no such thing. Go out and have a lovely time. You'll enjoy it, Mrs. Oliver. If I'm lonely, I'll ring up one of the neighbours.
Well, if you're sure.
Of course I'm sure.
Good night, sweetheart.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Madame, hang on a minute. Sorry, darling. Oh, almost forgot your coffee. Now, are you sure you're going to be all right, precious?
I'll be fine.
All right.
I've something for you. Something that might help the investigation. Right. Mrs. Carpenter, Eve Carpenter, used to be an exotic dancer at the Cactus Club in Soho.
How do you know this?
Well, I've been scouting around.
And?
She's still got the publicity stills. Pretty audacious, actually.
Mademoiselle, are you telling to me that you have broken and entered?
Certainly not. I was conducting a survey for the Estate Agents Guild. I simply asked the burghers of Broadhinney if I might peep inside their lovely homes. They invariably give me a tour. I also noticed something at Dr. Rendell's house. His wife was... Dinner!
Well, that was incredibly well received, wasn't it? You know, I think that Cecil is going to be just perfect for us. Look, let me sign your programme.
Oh, this is so kind of you.
Pleasure. There you are.
Marvellous.
I'll just put the car away.
Jolly good. We're home, Mrs. Upwood. It's terribly sad. But he's ever so talented, I suppose. Well, I'm going to bed. Mrs. Upwood. Mrs. Upwood?
Neat, quick, efficient. The thuggies did it that way in India. The victim doesn't cry out or struggle. Pressure on the carotid artery. I wager it was someone she knew. They had a coffee together. There are no prints on the cup, but there's lipstick, look.
And there was a strong smell of scent. Very expensive scent.
You say Mrs. Upwood recognised one of your photographs?
So many think of murder as a game. It is not a game. I told this to her, but she would not listen.
There's a woman outside to see. It's a son. Come in, Mrs. Summerhays. I think you know these people.
Yes.
So,
I was here last night.
at what time?
I don't know. She telephoned me. She was lonely. Well, she spoke to Johnny, actually.
Hello.
Come and have coffee, she said. Well, Johnny was working, as usual, and their coffee's a lot better than ours, so...
So you had coffee with her?
I rang the bell. But nobody answered. I called out, but there's no answer.
You've hit the bullseye with that sugar hammer thing. People don't realise that even a microscopic amount of blood will show up under analysis nowadays. And it fits the head wound rather snugly.
Please to have a look at this, Superintendent.
Marine life of the Great Barrier Reef.
It has some illustrations that are splendid, but please to take a look at the flyleaf.
Evelyn Hope.
Eva Kane.
But how did you...
The Great Barrier Reef, mon ami. It is situated where?
Australia. Mrs. Upward.
You have not told me, madame, about your visit to Kilchester.
It was like going to see his family. He's more at home in the theatre than he is at home.
And yet he has feelings so strong for his mother and cares for her so diligently.
Yes.
So perhaps he made to her the telephone call that evening.
To his mother? Oh, yes, absolutely.
Indeed. At what time?
About 7:15, I suppose, just before we got to the theatre.
And how was Madame Upward?
Then, no, she was fine. You know, it's not very nice to discover a body.
No.
I shall have to write a lot less screaming in future.
They'll hang me eventually. They're keen.
Your friends work hard for you.
What friends?
Maud Williams.
What's it got to do with her?
She is convinced that you are not guilty. Ma foi. Is it a crime to like a pretty girl? Tell to me.
We went for a walk together once. It was nice. She's nice. I liked her hair. She had lovely dark hair. And her clothes, you know. Mine are old-fashioned, but hers were nice. And she's kind.
So she came to Poirot-1?
Yes, on estate agent business.
And you took her to the pictures or perhaps a mirror?
No. No, sir, I didn't have any money. We just walked. Bumped into that writer chap.
Mr. Upward?
Maud said I should talk to him about my poems.
Poems?
Yeah. I write these little poems. You know. She asked for his autograph. She said he was famous.
Robin Upward?
That's him, yeah. Yeah. Well, Maud said I could be famous one day if I stick at it.
And this was just a little while before Mrs. McGinty was killed?
Yeah, it was on a Monday. She died on Wednesday.
So, I wish to ask you something else, Monsieur Bentley. Mrs. McGinty, she took the Sunday Comment, huh?
That's right.
Did you ever read her Sunday Comment?
No. I was brought up to believe it was trash.
So you did not see it that week?
No.
And Mrs. McGinty, did she speak of anything that she read that Sunday?
Oh, she did, yeah. Yeah, she was full of it. She went on and on.
All right, now this is very important, so please to be careful. What did she say?
It was about some ancient murder case. Craig? Maybe not. Conway? No, I can't recall. She said someone connected with it is living in Broadhenny now.
Did she say who?
Well, it was his mother, wasn't it?
Whose?
The chap we were just talking about, the writer chap.
Madame Upward?
Yeah, I think so. Or was it someone else? I wasn't really listening to her.
It is disheartening to reflect, monsieur, that if you are hanged, it is because you do not pay the proper attention to the people with whom you converse.
I don't want to be hanged, sir. I haven't done anything. It's my mind. It wanders, all right? Just do what you can. Please.
Why, Superintendent, should a woman keep a photograph of herself when she is young?
Vanity.
Why? So she has been a pretty girl, so she keeps a photograph of herself to remind her what a pretty girl she used to be, when in the mirror it says to her things most distressing. If Eve Carpenter or Sheila Randall, both women who are most attractive, had a photograph such as this, I think they would tear it into pieces very quickly for fear someone should see it. No. Your reason of vanity we may discuss. Let us take another reason. Sentiment. The memory of someone you love? Did anybody love Lily Gamble at that age? Well, surely the whole point about Lily Gamble is that she was a child that was not loved. This child of the slums. So I conclude it was not sentiment either.
Look here, Poirot. What you're saying is that nobody would have kept that photo.
Exactement, mon ami.
But someone did. Mrs. Upwood admitted she'd seen it.
But had she?
Dash it all, Poirot. You said she had.
Yes, but I believe that she was lying. She noticed the photograph, yes, but she pointed to the other one. For to create the screen of smoke.
Why? Was she being blackmailed? She was a wealthy woman.
No, Madame Upwood had seen something. She intends contacting the person concerned at the first opportunity. And the first opportunity was when Robin Upwood went to the theatre. Hercule Poirot. I should be there first thing tomorrow.
I know I shouldn't, but I do. He's just too persuasive. He asks me and I can't say no.
Mademoiselle Sweetie Man, it is vital that you tell to Poirot who he is.
Joe Birch.
Or the husband of the niece of Mrs. McGinty. And you have met him on the night of the murder.
I saw someone going into Laburnum's. I think it was a woman.
Sorry I'm late, sweetheart.
The Major said I had to tell you.
Mr. Upwood, your play, it goes well?
Well, no, to be honest. I was just having a little break. But, well, I must persist. I feel it's what poor old Marjorie would have wanted. Oh, by the way, I hope my typing's not too noisy for you.
Pardon?
My typing. I hope it's not too noisy.
No.
Just I can't stay at Laburnum's on my own.
Where is it?
What is it you look for, madame?
It's the Ministry of Agriculture form about the bloody pig. Got it.
Madame Randall? S'il vous plaît, madame, may I ask you something? Did Madame Upwood telephone to you on the day of her death? At what time?
But Mrs. Scott, the housekeeper, took the message. Ask her.
And what was the message? Was it perhaps to ask you to go there that evening?
Yes. But I'm ashamed to say I took my medication and I fell asleep after dinner. And when I woke, it was too late. It was dark. I should have gone.
Merci, madame.
Doesn't this take the pressure off James? He can't have killed Mrs. Upwood. He's in prison.
What is it that you want, mademoiselle?
I believe in James Bentley. He's a troubled soul, but I believe he can do great things. I want to clear his name.
All right, tell me what you discovered at the house of Dr. Randall.
Well, on reflection, it may have been nothing, but his wife was burning letters. There was a pile of letters in the grate in her sitting room, still smouldering. Now, what might she be up to? I mean, she hardly looks the type to be having an affair.
Does the name Evelyn Hope mean anything to you?
Evelyn Hope?
I see you know the name.
What? Yes. It was the name Eva, what's her name, took when she went to Australia. It was in the paper, the Sunday Comet.
Well, the Sunday Comet said many things, mademoiselle. It did not say that. Evelyn Hope is a name that I discovered in a book at the house of Madame Upwood.
What?
Why did you want the autograph of Robin Upwood? Why did you come to this part of the world in the first place? How do you know Eva Kane went to Australia?
Sorry, I've got to go.
Where to, mademoiselle?
I've got to go, I'm sorry. Goodbye.
Mademoiselle?
I'll pay you whatever you want. You're a private investigator, aren't you? I'll pay you whatever you ask. Get the police off my back. They think I killed the Upwood woman.
And did you, madame?
No. I was at home listening to the radio. Guy was at a meeting. Croft took the message from Mrs. Upwood asking me to go down and see her.
Did you go?
Why the hell should I? Damn dreary old woman. Thought she was a bloody movie star.
Why do you not wear your spectacles, madame?
Oh, I do sometimes. I had to as a child.
Also the plate for the teeth?
Yes. I was a sad little thing.
Oh, I'm sure your mother, she did not think so.
I couldn't tell you. She left pretty sharpish. What the hell are we talking about anyway? Will you take the job?
Je regrette que non, madame.
Question of money, is it? How much?
That is your great mistake, madame. To think always in terms of the question of money.
Scissors.
I've been making inquiries in Dublin. There's a woman called Lily Brogan, serving life in Mountjoy jail for chopping up her spouse with a meat cleaver. She's the right age. She wears thick glasses, has a vile temper, and is said to have originally come from Wimbledon. Hardly conclusive. Fixed.
So this woman in Dublin, she could be Lily Gamble?
Yes. Which leaves us with Evelyn Hope, formerly Eva Kane, who reportedly died in Australia 20 years ago.
Eva Kane was the governess to the Craig family, n'est-ce pas?
Yes.
And where there is a governess, il y a des enfants. Is it children?
Yes, 2. They went to live with relatives when the mother was killed.
Mm-hmm. Wait one little minute. Confirm for me this, mon cher Spence. Eva Kane leaves the country before Craig he is executed, c'est vrai?
Yes.
And at this time she is expecting a child?
Yes, like it said in the paper.
Bon Dieu. How stupid is Poirot!
Do you know, mon ami, what is a secret polichinelle?
I don't speak foreign, Poirot.
Then quickly, Superintendent, into the car, vite! Mesdames, Messieurs, I will not make for you the history that is long and complicated. But it is necessary that I should start at the very beginning. Mrs. Abigail McGinty, a woman who is simple, hard-working, down on her knees, scrubbing your floor. Alas, Mrs. McGinty, she is killed. And the young man, James Bentley, he is tried and convicted. But my dear friend, Superintendent Spence from Scotland Yard, had doubts that Bentley was truly guilty. And so he approached me, Hercule Poirot, to confirm his suspicions or not, as the case may be. And so the first question for Poirot to ask it is this: why did Mrs. McGinty die? By now you know about the photograph that was published in the Sunday Comet, right? Well, Mrs. McGinty has recognized one of those photographs. In fact, James Bentley told me so himself, that she saw this photograph at the house of Madame Upwood. But when I produced my two photographs, voila, at her house that night, Madame Upwood pointed to the photograph of the child killer, Lily Gamble. But Madame Upwood pointed to the wrong photograph quite deliberately, to shake me from the scent. But one person was not deceived. The murderer. And here I will not beat around the shrubbery. The photograph that Madame Upwood recognized was the other one. That of Eva Kane, the accomplice in the Craig murder case. And the following evening, Madame Upwood, she is killed. But before she died, 3 women received a telephone call. Madame Eve Carpenter, Madame Sheila Rendell, Madame Maureen Summerhays. We must now look to them. Now, Madame Upwood made this call herself, asking each of these women to come and see her that evening. Now, had these women anything in common? Well, nothing, it would seem, except their age. Each has the right age to be the daughter of Eva Kane. But when these summonses were received, what actually occurred? Madame Summerhays went to the Laburnums.
Mrs. Upwood?
She could not make herself heard, and so she departed. Madame Carpenter and Madame Rendell, for different reasons, they did not go. And yet, there were traces of lipstick on the cup on the table. There is also another witness who shall remain incognito, who saw a woman walking up to Laburnums. You see, we have the evidence of a scent. Scent that is strong, exotic, expensive, and exactly the same as is used by you, Madame Carpenter.
I never went near the place. Guy, do something.
We already know certain things about your wife's past, monsieur. Things that she would rather keep hidden.
You bastard!
Perhaps she has further secrets.
Let me inform you, Poirot. We have laws of slander in this country.
Is it a slander, monsieur, to say that your wife wears a certain lipstick or uses a certain perfume?
You utter bastard! This is ridiculous. Anyone can go splatting my perfume about.
Exactement. Anyone could, and someone did. Clumsy and crude. But it made me to think. Scent? Lipstick on a cup? But surely lipstick, it can be removed very easily, every trace, but it was not. Why not? And it seemed to me that there was an emphasis, most deliberate, on femininity, an underlining of the fact that it was a woman who committed the murder. And so Poirot, of course, he begins to suspect that it was not. The telephone calls that these women received, they were only messages. None of them actually spoke to Madame Upwood herself. She communicated with Monsieur Croft, your butler, Madame Scott, your housekeeper, and of course, with you, sir, Major Summerhays. What did she say to you, in fact?
Hello. She said ask Maureen to pop round for coffee, if you would.
Just so?
Just so? What are you implying?
No, nothing, monsieur. It's just that, did she sound to you normal, or was she under any stress?
Oh, I wasn't really listening, damn it. Put the receiver down and called for my wife. I was hard at work on my book. But I suppose her voice sounded strained. Do you think someone forced her to do it?
I only know, monsieur, that someone was most anxious to involve a woman. Any woman. I ask myself, why? And the only answer, it seemed to me, could be this. That it was not a woman who killed Madame Upwood, but a man. And so we arrived to here. A man killed Madame Upwood. And from the evidence that we now have, it is conclusive that this same man killed Mrs. McGinty. But what kind of man? A man they knew? A man to whom they would open the door? A man who would, how do you say, pop around? By foot? By car? By bicycle? Both of these murders hinge on a photograph. And after the second murder, well, I'm sure you all agree with me that the very presence of this photograph for the murderer, it is very dangerous, huh? It should be destroyed, huh? But it was not. How do I know this? I discovered this photograph only yesterday in a drawer in this room. Eva Kane. And on the reverse, my mother.
I don't understand. I never saw
Mother, you told to us that you were adopted. You never knew your parents, but someone did. Someone knew. Someone discovered. Someone has all the ancestral pride of the family. And someone who, rather than let the world know that his wife was the daughter of Eva Kane, would rather die. Or in this case, would rather kill.
Now look here, you filthy swine. I've just about had enough. Anyone can put a photo in a drawer?
Quite potty. I've never seen that picture before in my life, except at the Upwards that night.
Who's that awful child?
You are fortunate, madame. The Poirot knows he is telling the truth, huh? Because this photograph had been placed in this drawer only a little while before I found it. How do I know this? Because I replaced the contents of this drawer earlier, and it was not there then. So it must have been placed there during that interval. And so, both crimes were committed by a man. And for the simplest of reasons, money. In a flyleaf of a book that I discovered at Madame Upwood is the name written Evelyn Hope. Now, Hope was the name given to Eva Kane when she left England to go to Australia. But if her real name was Evelyn, then it is quite natural to suspect that she would give this name to her child. After all, Evelyn is a name that can be given to a man as well as to a woman. But why did we suspect that the child of Eva Kane was a girl? Because the Sunday Comet, it told us so. In an article written by Mademoiselle Pamela Horsfall. But, mes amis, this article, it was a work of fiction. How could Pamela Horsfall possibly know the sex of a child that was unborn?
Accurate. Heck, who knows?
No! Evelyn Hope was the son of Eva Kane. He left Australia, came to England, found work. He attracts the attention of a widow who is rich, lonely. And little by little, she grows to adore him. He changes his name to hers by deed poll, and they come to Broadhenny. But your real name, monsieur, it is Evelyn Hope. N'est-ce pas?
What are you talking about?
The name Evelyn Hope that I discovered in the flyleaf of the book, monsieur, it is in your handwriting. As are the words, my mother, on the back of this photograph. And it was this photograph that Mrs. McGinty found when she was tidying your room. She assumed that it was the photograph of Laura Upwood when she was young. She could have no idea that Madame Upwood was not your real mother. But your real mother, monsieur, it was Eva Kane. And you know that if your madre, she knows, she would throw you out on your own, to fend for yourself. It is not easy to make a living as a playwright, monsieur, without the help of a generous banker. So Mrs. McGinty, she is silenced.
You ridiculous little man. Where'd you get these absurd ideas from?
I will tell it to you. You know, from the beginning, I thought that there was something unnatural at the Laburnums. Your attitude to Laura Upwood, monsieur, it was not the attitude of a son to a mother. It was rather the attitude of a protégé to a patron. And Laura Upwood, even though she adores you, she treats you as an object of luxury for which she has bought and paid. Oh, but all goes well, huh? For Robin Upwood. Soudainement, here's the successful playwright. Until comes along the McGinty. What are you to do? You steal the sugar hammer from the summer haze. Well, you can steal anything from the summer haze. You drive your car to her cottage. And Mrs. McGinty, she is expecting le petit cadeau, hein? The little present. Perhaps even the payoff. Instead, you smash in her skull. Next, you fake a burglary. You mean Monsieur James Bentley to be fingered. Well, you met him only a few days before. You found him to be a man of little intelligence, so he will discover the body, he will panic, he will incriminate himself. Et voila, he does. He is tried and convicted. And all goes well. Until I produce my 2 photographs at the house that night. And at that very moment, you know that your mother, she knows. And so you prepare your mise en scène.
Hang on a minute.
You leave Madame Oliver sitting in the car.
Oh, almost forgot your coffee. Now, are you sure you're going to be all right, precious?
I'll be fine.
And you kill her. And the murder, it takes, what, a matter of seconds. And now to make it look as though a woman committed a crime, you smear the cup with lipstick. Lipstick that you had taken from the handbag of Madame Carpenter. You even brought along a bottle of her scent, most favorite. Now, for the final act of incriminating a woman, you make a telephone call to your mother on your way to the theater with Madame Oliver from Kilchester. Is that not right, monsieur?
Yes! Yes, I did, and she was fine. Now that is enough! I shall certainly be contacting my lawyers immediately.
This lawyer had better be an expert, monsieur. Because you did not telephone to your mother, because at that time, Laura Upwood, she was already dead. Oh, you made the telephone call, yes, but you made the telephone call to 3 women. Madame Eve Carpenter, Madame Sheila Rendell, and Madame Maureen Summerhays. You employed all the skills of the actor that you once were.
Hello, this is Laura Upwood. I wonder, would you please give Mrs. Rendell a message?
And now you wanted to place any one of these 3 women at the scene of the crime. And once you had discovered that Maureen Summerhays, she had been there, it was then that you conceived the idea of placing this photograph amongst her possessions. After all, the sugar hammer was hers. And because she had been adopted, she would find it very difficult to prove that she was not the child of Eva Kane. But you forgot to observe one little fact, monsieur. The fact that Madame Maureen Summerhays never at any time wears the lipstick. Is that not so, madame?
No, I never wear lipstick.
See, monsieur, when I tidied the drawer, I knew that the person who had placed these photographs there was typing above my head. And then I remembered what you said to Maureen Summerhays when she admitted to being adopted that night.
Just be thankful someone took you in, darling. It's cold out there.
And then I remembered the title of your play as told to me by Madame Oliver. Abandoned. And then I knew that you, Monsieur Robin Upward, or rather, Monsieur Evelyn Hope, you were also adopted. Is that not so? Is that not so?
Yeah. Don't look at me.
Please! Don't look at me!
Hello there. Not late, am I? We said 4 o'clock, didn't we?
I believe we said 3 o'clock, madam.
Oh, well, never mind. So, it was Robin Upward, whilst I was sitting in the car. I must confess I'm astonished. I was certain it was the doctor or Joe Birch.
But I am afraid, madame, that your female intuition, it has taken the day off.
Nonsense. My mind was on other things, that's all.
But I am so sorry that your play would not now be written.
You could be sorry if you like, Poirot. Personally, I'm overjoyed. Now, hop in. I'll take you back to London. I'll just move these. Give you some room.
So, who was it who tried to push you under a train? Robin Upward?
No. Let me explain it to you. Over a period of years in the town of Stoke-on-Trent, a number of people who are terminally ill are assisted in their suicides by taking drugs that are prescribed by a local doctor. A crime, a mercy killing.
Dr. Rendell?
Oui, d'accord. Enfin, the gossips, they begin to write letters of malice. But I could not find any evidence that the doctor benefited financially. But the tongues, they will flap, n'est-ce pas? The doctor has a wife with a neurosis, so they have begun a new life in Broadhing. Et tout va bien until comes along the meddling little Belgian. Oui, c'est moi. But Poirot, you know he is immortal. And what is more, he knows everything. For example, he knows it was you that night at Le Burnham's. You were the girl. And Poirot, he also knows your real name. It is Craig, n'est-ce pas? And Eva Kane was your governess.
She killed my mother. I went there that night to take my revenge. I was going to kill her, but she was already dead. And now I know it wasn't her after all. Thank God I didn't pull the trigger. So, do you intend to charge me or something?
It's time to go. So go. Bonne chance. Whitehaven Mansions, if you please.